And we are live. Good evening and happy new year. I'm your host, Noel Clubb, here on the Clubb Tracks TV show. And welcome to Spanglish Sports World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app from respective iOS and Android app stores, as the app is absolutely free. And while you download, please make sure to rate and leave us a comment because we always want to hear from you. That's right, we sure do. And Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Fire TV sticks. Roku and Roku sticks are also available on all smart TVs from 2016 forward, of course. Well, welcome all the viewers watching the show around the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And it's time to introduce our panel here, of course. So joining us from the East Village of New York, he's a lead singer and guitarist of New York City's classic rock band, The Handful. Please welcome the one and the very only Mark, cool dude, Duda, to the
Why?
show.
Thank you, brother.
How you
Thank you,
doing,
my
man?
friends. Good to see you guys, man.
Me
Nice to
too.
meet you, Leslie, and always a pleasure, Delyn and Noel.
Absolutely.
We got the crew back together. What can we say? We got a big show tonight, I guess.
Sure
Okay,
do.
let's work. I mean, why don't we play? Just man, we can
No, that's
totally.
a great idea. That's an even better idea. One day we gotta make that happen. That's very cool. I totally agree with you.
Hey, listen, I came on the show as a guest initially, and I did play.
That's what you did. You did.
Yeah. So
really
you never
cool.
know. Keep an acoustic handy. We might put you on the
We need
spot.
like a drum set over here on my side, a couple microphones for you guys, and a couple
There
guitars
you go.
on the side,
That's
and
all
we're
I
good to
need,
go.
man.
We can make a record right here live on the show.
Right now.
I got the right studio here in the back, so
Yeah, exactly.
I see that. I'll be
And
right
recording
there.
studio over there, back there. Very beautiful studio you got there, sir. Very nice. Very
Set
nice.
me up with a nice Neumann. I'll be right over to sing.
we have
exactly
pretty
no
much
time at all.
everything.
All right.
Nice. So beautiful over there. Yeah, very beautiful. Well, before we get to Leslie, let's get over to another beautiful, of course, special guest here on the show. There she is. So she's a very cool, very talented alternative rock artist from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Please welcome the one and the only Delyn. Great.
Oh, hell yeah.
Welcome to Lynn.
Hell yeah.
Woohoo. How you doing?
Good. I'm so stoked to be back with you guys. I love the show so much, and yeah, thanks for having me again.
Absolutely, of course, yeah, we love it too. We have you on the show as well. More the merrier. Hey, more the merrier here in this show. Absolutely. Well, without further ado, we're going to introduce our very special guest here. You actually see here on the screen with us. He's a singer, a drummer, a record producer, and the founder of Mandoki Soulmates. Please welcome Leslie Mandoki to the show. Welcome, Leslie.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Thanks for having me.
How you doing, sir?
Late night here in Europe, where you are. You don't see the studio, but we are by the Lake Starnberg, which is nearby Munich. So this is probably one of the most beautiful spots on continental Europe. But you are from Toronto, so that Canada is beautiful. And Mark is coming from New York. So
that's right.
From my perspective as a European, I'm saying always New York is the kind of the capital of mankind. And for us musicians, anyway. So this is great to thank you for having me, and thank you for sharing the vision and allowing me into your life, and you are in mine. So it's great. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And you're saying too before the show, it's actually your first Canadian interview ever after all these decades of being a high notes musician. Is your first Canadian interview? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And although I was traveling this beautiful country, Canada, because the nature and the people, I mean, so special.
Yeah,
and sort of and also a lot of Hungarians, as you know, I'm a born Hungarian. So even in Toronto, there's a good friend of mine, Attila Glass. So he's taking care of us in America. So I'm kind of very familiar, but it's the very first interview in Canada, our very first release in America at all.
Very cool indeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, well, thanks again for joining us too. It was a real pleasure, sir. Real pleasure.
Let's put this way or that. I'm probably I'm a newcomer, so everybody comes into a certain age when he has to start his American career. So this is mine.
That's it. Right
on. Yeah, right on. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, hey, so going back to the beginning here with you. So you're born in Budapest, Hungary. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was back in January 7th, 1953. Yeah, very cool, very
A
cool.
couple of
And
ages
you're,
ago. So
is right.
Well,
yeah.
you're well preserved, Leslie. I gotta
Well
say,
preserved.
remarkably so.
Thank you.
That's
Well,
right. I
thank
think
you,
rock
Mark.
roll kind of has an effect on us.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
has one. It goes one way or the other, right? There's no in between.
Exactly. So 24/7. This is you go out and you tour, and like to tour back to back. So to play every day, and having the 800 miles traveling in between, and to do all the promos and the sound check and playing again. And the studio is 24/7 anyway. So
It's a way of life. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Well, rock star
But
like
at least
yourself.
I have about 15 minutes walk to get home by
Wow,
the lake. And
beautiful.
sometimes I take my Canadian canoe, my Indian canoe, and I'm pedaling through this beautiful this area, and the alpine areas looks like a little like Canada. So this is
Really? Actually, you actually paddle there? Wow.
yeah, yeah. I have a true Canadian Indian canoe. So
No kidding.
um
Wow, it's really cool.
so this is
So I think
I'm
Canada's in
visiting.
your blood somehow, some shape or form, eh?
Mhm.
but
There's Canadian somewhere in there. I can feel it too. No, very cool, man. Very cool. So I want to go back to the beginning here. So who are your earliest musical influences for you when you were growing up? Who got you started and interested in music in the first place?
Well, actually, I came from jazz, and I was
Mm.
totally into John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, Miles Davis as I was a kid. And all of a sudden, at about 72, um, I got a fourth generation mono tape copy of the Aqualung album of Jethro Tull, and it's
Oh
changed my
wow.
life.
Really?
Amen.
Because
Yeah.
in Eastern Europe, we didn't have record shops or anything like that. So we were lucky if we had some tape copy of something. And this album, Ian Anderson's Aqualung, was changing my life. And I was so uh, impressed, and I was so much influenced by this album. I was translating the lyrics and the whole composition work and the harmonic world and some eclectic way to do this album. But somehow, as I was diving into this British prog rock, like Yes and the early Genesis and King Crimson,
Hmm.
I was missing that what I liked so much in the American, mostly New Yorkish fusion thing,
Oh yeah.
like Mahavishnu Orchestra, Return to Forever,
Oh
Valley
yeah.
Report, Bracker Brothers, uh, Tony Williams Lifetime, this type of thing. And so as about 74, Chick Corea came up with the new lineup of Return to Forever featuring
Yeah.
Yadi Maola. I thought, oh God, I mean, this that was it. And as I escaped communism, I became kind of the leading voice against communism. I was sort of the rock voice of the student uprising against communism. And then I had
Interesting.
to escape through a tunnel, and I was touching down in a
Wow.
refugee camp with a dear friend of mine, Gabo Chipo. And the American resettlement officer was asking him, he was a born Hungarian, so because the Americans were trying to give us always, someone is speaking your mother tongue. And and he was asking me, say, okay, boy, I understand that you escaped communism, but what the hell are you going to do now here? A long hair musician, 22 years old. And I said, well, I came to play with Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull and Jack Bruce of Cream and Al Di Meola of Return to Forever. And so this resettlement officer from Ohio, and he's just looking at me. I said, yeah, you must be total crazy. And turning to my friend, Gabo Chupo, who was a 22 years old Hungarian cartoonist and animator. And I said, what the hell are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to Hollywood and I have some ideas. So, his work. Simpsons was his first, really the great success. Then Rugrats, the Real Monsters, then Duckman. And
Yeah.
truly, Ian Anderson and Jack Bruce and Ali Moore were the founding members 30 years ago of the Mandoki band.
Gotcha.
Because I just, my father, my saddest moment of my life as I was 16 and my father died, and I said, that bet he said, hey, boy, you got to promise to me that my grandchildren never going to read censored papers. And I said, but there is the Iron Curtain, Daddy. And I said, my son, is nothing for you. I mean, you find your way and you go, and you live your dreams and don't dream your life. And that's actually what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
our first American release, Utopia for Real, is actually is a part of that dream.
Very
No
cool.
doubt.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, great backstory there. Great story there for sure.
And
I
so
gotta ask you
that's
about going to being a musician because I know you're a singer, you're also a record producer, but also I'm a drummer too. So I want to get your experience when you first discovered the drums. Like, who was your influence as a drummer? Where did all this kind of start for you as a drummer?
actually, as I was a little kid and I was into this whole Coltrane, Charlie Parker, Miles, everything. I was
Mm,
on Tony Williams and Alvin Jones type of really complex jazzy things. With
yeah.
for me was very important to be really virtuose, and they play. Impressing drum solos. That was the most important thing for me to show off you because but then as I fell in love with prog rock and I was more I was understanding my drumming as a part of my compositions.
Hmm.
I think I became a much more musical drummer than I before. I was just showing off a young kid,
Right.
15.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Checking
be
my
faster.
chops.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanted to be faster than anyone else.
Exactly.
And but as I was growing, I was 19 and think. Then I was really. I thought I have to serve my music as a drummer, and actually I was not planning to become a singer, but it's happened the same way like with my dear friend Phil Collins. I used to work a lot with.
Yeah. Right.
I was writing the songs and I was singing it to our singers, and I didn't like the way they sang, so I had to sing it. So I became the singer,
No
and
way.
but I didn't want to leave the drums. So it's I'm still kind of frontman on drums and singing. So, but and then it came the period of time what you guys not remembering because you were not born back then. It was the 80s, and
Oh, I was well before. Yeah, trust me, I'm well before '80s.
and it was then I was a studio kid, so I was playing with everyone, and then sometimes it was this early 80s we had to program drumming a lot because
Yeah.
this was fashionable, this kind of thing.
Right.
I was very sorry for that, but before I lose my job, so I really learned it how to do it right, and I always wanted to be better than any programming, and but then
Absolutely.
I turned to percussion a lot, so that because that was not and the beginning of the era of Linn drums. It was the percussion was I could rescue my drumming there, and
Right.
but then I survived that period of time. And then we started with the Mandoki band anyway. So with Ian Anderson and Jack Bruce and with a Canadian singer, David Clayton Thomas of Blood, Sweat and Tears.
So cool.
Um,
Love
But
David
what a great
Clayton
singer he
Thomas,
was. Oh
man.
man,
Yeah,
phenomenal.
and
love his voice.
Great.
great. And then Bobby Kimball of Toto, I was still looking at with Toto and Eldimol and
Wow.
Mike Stern. Randy Brecker was with us from the very first moment on. Late Michael
Brecker
Brecker, of
Brothers.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Evans and Anthony Jackson, Victor Bailey. And so, very unfortunately, we lost then Greg Lake, who was a very very fundamental part of so much.
From
He died
ELP.
of cancer,
Mm.
and then actually John Lord from Deep Purple was playing
Yeah.
Hammond, and now it's
Yeah.
Corey Henry with us on Hammond, a true New Yorker. So actually, became more a New Yorker band with some great British superstars like John Halliwell from Supertramp on
Cool.
saxophone, and so we have a great lineup. And recently we played a concert. You can see it on YouTube. Mandoki saw me. It's Utopia for Realists. We had a big live show in Budapest because the COVID is killing touring, of course,
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But
You
in the
had Tony
summer,
Carey there, right, on that one?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I'm a big Tony Carey fan. Of course, he was in Rainbow when my buddy Bobby Rondinelli played for the band. And so it's
Right.
always had some connection to him as well. But I thought that was really cool when I saw it. I said, man, that's Tony Carey.
So cool.
Absolutely.
Right.
Tony moved to Germany because he fell in love with a German lady, and she changed his life.
Usually
So
do.
and like usually girls are doing with to
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
I think
so
he's got Native American blood too.
yeah, he's
Tony.
Native American, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting
But
guy.
he was a true rock and roller, so he lived the rock and roll life like, and this is
Yeah.
only a girl can change that. So
A good one at that too.
This is true.
uh, uh, a very serious substantial love affair. You can bring you off the road a little, and Tony became a really very close friend. He's a great guy.
Very
I mean,
cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, over to Mark before I get carried away here.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I was impressed with all the folks on the album, but I knew that, right? Who is this guy Leslie that he's able to pull so many of these people into his orbit,
Yeah,
and work
crazy.
with him. And so, what struck me was really the arranging when I first start to listen to the record. And bear with me while I look at my notes here. Yeah. So right away, sessions in the village, right? So you've got you're melding together some very disparate textures, right? Varied instrumentation. It almost comes off as the voices of the different villagers kind of weaving into your soundscape, right? But it's not haphazard. It's carefully arranged. So how much of what you do is songwriting? How much of it is arranging? Is there sort of a blurred line between the two? How do you look upon that sort of stuff?
so let's start from the basic influence for this album,
Yeah.
and we had a couple of minutes to talk before we went on air with your producer, and his mom is from Temesvar, it's a heartland of Transylvania. And these songs,
Wow.
what you're hearing on the Utopia for Realists, are based on Bela Bartok's collection of folk songs.
Oh,
So some of them are written by me, but some of them are based on some folk songs,
Hmm.
because this is in a very interesting area, multi-ethnical area, and a beautiful, great kind of music. And Bela Bartok was uh, doing these collections of folk songs against fascism, because he thought music is so strong and music is so powerful that he can tear down the danger of and the end of the 30s. And so Greg Lake and John Lord was suggesting me 18 years ago, as we were touring together in a Mandoki band. Peter Frampton was playing guitar in the band back then. And Jack Bruce was on bass. Ian Anderson played flute and was singing. Bobby
wow.
Kimball of Toto was the other singer. And
Wow.
Greg and John Lord was pulling me aside after rehearsal and said, Leslie, we really want to know, what about, Bela Bartok? You are a Hungarian kid, so because he was the greatest rock and roller. So we discussed it, and then I learned the secret, but I'm going to share with you now and everybody's listening to
Please.
that he said Emerson, Lake and Palmer was not planning to do pictures of an exhibition. They were planning to do Hungarian pictures from Bela Bartok, but they
Huh.
couldn't get hold of the rights, so it was not legal. Uh,
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's
uh,
right.
and so they had to wait until 70 years is over after that he died. So
Hmm.
and
So
he's,
it's public domain at this
yeah,
point,
but
right?
now,
Yeah.
yeah. So we had to wait. I couldn't get rights either, so we had to wait. And about 3 years ago, we could do it, but very
Hmm.
unfortunately, Greg Blake was losing his fight against
Yes.
cancer, and John
Yeah.
Lord too. So, but I promise that we are going to do it. And the genius Corey Henry came in for John Lord.
And you
Really?
can hear the influence, frankly. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
that's the first thing that it conjured when I heard that was John's playing. Yeah.
Absolutely, and the other influence, the idea was, I thought, prog rock is only relevant when we are really socially relevant in a way. So let's get out of our comfort zone. We
Mm-hmm.
know that uh, about 32 years ago, 33 years ago, it was a wonderful moment of life as in Europe the Iron Curtain came down, and we all thought the Cold War is over, and
Yeah.
uh, and the globe becomes a paradise,
Yeah.
and we all know that we made something wrong, something went totally wrong, uh, uh, and so and this whole album, Utopia for Realists, as the title is saying, is
Yeah.
against greediness, against this uh, um, all this power which is brings us out of balance in a way.
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and uh, and especially the COVID time is a trying times, it's challenging times, and it's like a magnifying glass over the society.
Yeah.
and uh,
Yeah.
and it's like in Woodstock times. Now we are getting back, and prog rock is sort of the answer, that to look for the answers. And Utopia for Realists is about that this challenging trying times, we can only overcome the challenges, the old rebels, what we are, together with the young rebels, hand in hand. We can turn the wind, and we have to go through this wake up call. We have to get out of our comfort zone, get out of news bubbles and echo chambers of the social media, and we have to find in the humanity, just how to care for each other. That friendship and family and our work is much more in the center, as our social media thing. So
That's
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
It
Yeah,
is.
I also took from that as, utopia is a relative thing, also, depending upon where you sit. My version of utopia might not be yours or somebody else's. And so it's interesting that I was sort of thinking in those terms when I heard the song. So I think it
Mhm.
speaks in a few different ways.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but we have something mutual, something all common, that we want to make build a better world. And I think my generation is probably the very first generation is going to pass over the world in not a better shape as we got it. And environmentally, socially, culture wise, um, and but also, we we starting to lose ground in the balance of society. The greediness of Wall Street.
Yeah.
This goes too far. This has nothing to
Mm-hmm.
do with
Amen.
free
Yeah.
enterprise, because it's nothing about free enterprise anymore. It's about the greediness.
Yeah.
That if you see that millions and millions of Americans are turning upside down during the COVID, and you see that the top-notch people just doubling their income during the COVID, then it's a magnifying glass. And
Yeah.
there's a test of character what we are going through right now, and
That's what it is. Yeah.
it's a culture situation right now. So and I was writing with all these folks together the soundtrack for the turnaround, back to humanity, and again, and this is what we all have common, that we
Mm-hmm.
have to say no to this greediness. We have to get back to humanity. So there's the basic values, and we have to relearn that you should call a friend who, not the guy or the girl who is liking you on Facebook with your photo with your dog, but it's
Yeah.
much more as a friend when your wife just left you, or you get a bad message from your doctor and you still have a beer with you.
Sure. Yeah.
So we just have to reset our values
Right
in a
on.
way.
Right on.
And we are totally in these news bubbles and echo chambers that
Yeah.
we are, and if we go on like that,
Yeah.
that we're going to lose in our, let's talk about our profession. I mean, we owe our people, I mean, our audience a lot, and they are allowing us, I mean, their love is propelling our creativity. The love of our audience is giving us this chance to walk on the sunny side of life, and to
Mm-hmm.
do what we're doing. I mean, we are so privileged, and such an honor to enjoy the love of our audience. And I think after this COVID, I mean, we are not over yet, but we are in this COVID dark tunnel. And
Yeah.
Utopia Realist, this album is actually the light at the end of that tunnel.
Right on.
Uh, and and like there's also the last song, The Torch. When I'm talking to my children
Yes.
about so what I
And you revisit lyrically Utopia for Realists in The Torch, don't you?
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also saying in some way, somehow, to the next generation, and Darren, you may feel yourself addressed in this, that I said, hey, yes, I'm proud that my generation was bringing down the Iron Curtain and sort of overcame the Cold War. But
Mhm.
from then
Yeah.
on, we made everything wrong. obviously, because the greediness became, the
Yeah, the headline.
headline instead of humanity.
Yeah.
And let's get back. Let's turn around, and this is the
Right on.
soundtrack for it, to the fundamental, basic human values. So the friends and family and the work what we do, and we musicians are so incredibly privileged, and uh, and we should not allow the remaining music industry to destroy the format album, because it's so
This
important.
is true. Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know
Right.
yeah,
it's so
yeah.
important to give our audience this piece of work. This is also craftsmanship, but how you bring, that's why in this album you have one piece,
Yeah.
that just
Yes.
to show that this is a format of a piece of art. That's, I'm a little painter, I'm a little poet, but I'm a musician. But and it's a craftsmanship thing, to make this as a really true artistical experience for our audience. And that's why I'm fighting to a little bit for this revenge of analog thing,
Yeah.
because I'm and Delyn, probably you are with me if I'm saying, if Mark and myself and Noel, we had a couple of years, but we were out on the road. But this record is not a text message to our audience. This record is a
Yeah.
handwritten love letter to our audience with,
Right
with
on.
ink.
Yeah.
And you are a lady. How would you like to get a love letter? With a text message, or rather with the
No,
pink?
uh, paper.
With the,
You know what?
Paper.
with
Yeah.
ink pen. Okay, so this is
Not
it.
sliding into your DMs, huh?
Uh, uh,
No.
uh,
Good
okay,
answer. Good answer.
this record is, it was written, it was rehearsed here in the studio with all the guys, with all the soundmates, and we recorded analog on a 2-inch analog tape machine,
Yeah.
uh, like a love letter,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
uh, you know uh, because I also, of course, we are working here digitally in normal life, but the digital recording, had a huge downside, that the focus become on the post production.
Mm,
And I wanted to create something where, like in a love letter, you have it in your heart, and
more
as you write, and you
personal.
don't want to rewrite and rewrite the whole letter. You want to do it as it comes, by heart. And
Yeah,
this
yeah.
record, it just sounds like as it went down.
Right on.
And if you see our only live show during the COVID on your YouTube, and Mandoki so much YouTube if you're realist, then you see also that the same thing. We have, two guitar players, Mike Stern, Ali Mola, Richard Bona on bass, Tony Carey on Hammond, and singing, and Randy Brecker, of course, on trumpet, and Miles as Davis, young sax player. He started at Bill Evans on saxophone. So we have a wonderful lineup, and 33,000 people were coming to our show in August in Budapest, because it was a very low COVID level there, so we could play there, and it was so funny. Imagine after the sound check,
Hmm.
a bunch of legendary Hungarian iconic rock stars came up to me and said, "Leslie, can we have a word with you?" I said, "Hey, guys, no, of course." I said, "Well, you came to the town where you were born and raised, and you went to academy, and you came here home to end your career." So what are you talking about? Said, you are going to play 3 hours of fresh new music. Said, well, yes, that's what we are up to. Said, yeah, but as you know, this is we just COVID time, and all the people are there, 33,000 people. They're expecting that you're singing your huge hits, and everybody else.
Right,
Right.
right.
We together, everybody, we have 35 Grammys together, and uh,
Holy
and I
cow.
said, "No," and then I said, "It's not. We are not going to do that, because uh, we owe something to the people, that because this is COVID time, so we owe fresh new music, the answer for tomorrow. I mean,
You had a message in mind, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And you know what happened? these all these iconic rock stars, superstars, right? Like the Bruce Springsteens of Hungary. And I said, Leslie, please don't do that. I mean, the people gonna go away after 30 minutes. You play this in one piece. And and you know what happened? Right about 20 minutes after the show, we started up. I see it on YouTube. So at first, and the people went berserk, the freak out, because we got I was not speaking to them. We were just playing, but they felt that we just bring it to them as a present. The light at the end of the COVID tunnel.
Nice.
And they felt
That's the
it.
spirit
And
in which you intended it. So
Yeah.
that's
that's my
very
spirit.
rewarding to have it received that way. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
wonderful.
special and cool.
Absolutely, and this is the utopia, So let's get back to humanity. Let's bridge over the gaps, and let's overcome all this silly greediness, and,
Yeah.
and, and let's share and, and and care again in a different way, and understand that friendship and family is the center of our doing.
Yeah, right on. Like so wise. I say, let's love your message here, man. You're
Thank
definitely
you so
right in line with us. No trouble with
Thank you.
that.
But if you only take the title lines, like old rebels, young rebels, turn to wind, wake up, welcome to real life, the torch. So
Yeah,
every and each in utopia for us, music is the greatest unifier.
it
This is
really
about
is.
it,
Yeah,
No doubt.
so, so
Yeah.
it
universal.
overcomes everything,
Yeah,
So
across so many barriers and borders. Absolutely.
absolutely. I mean, and I don't want to see racial barriers. I don't want to
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
Let's overcome that silly
exactly.
thing. Let's leave behind. It's the ugly past.
Yeah, no, right on. Right on.
So I'm from European point of view, as I say, I always felt American in my heart, and I said, well,
Me too.
uh,
I know that
and
feeling too. Yeah.
yeah, and then so let's overcome all this, let's and the music can do a lot, and I
Mm,
think
True.
we musicians, as we speak now to each other, we should understand that we're serving the people.
yeah. First,
That this
yeah,
is
first of all.
actually a public service what we're doing,
Yeah.
and the music industry should calm down, because they should understand this is not a business. This
Well,
is
it's the
something.
music industry that's devalued the art, not the fans, as you point
Thank
out.
you.
We
Thank you,
all,
Mark.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
think we all
absolutely.
get it. I mean, I'm still releasing new music. Dylan's releasing new music. You are, and it really is that that devaluing doesn't come from,
Yeah.
the
The artist.
individual fan. It comes from elsewhere.
Absolutely, Mark. You're perfectly right, and that's why we musicians we have to build our bridges directly to the audience,
That's
and
right.
because that's the way. Because this evolution is this exactly done by the remaining music industry, and not by the
Yeah.
music lovers. So
And it
that's why.
should be easy enough for us to disintermediate that because ultimately we're in control of it, right?
Hmm.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hmm.
That's all about. So that's a part of my utopia for realists, So
Right
and the
on.
scope, as of course, is a hard work. Very obviously, this is. But I'm such a lucky guy. You could see if you could see look around the studio. There's 72 golden records on the wall. So
That's
so
awesome.
that's
Gorgeous studio too.
that makes a little stable and makes me loud.
In a great way.
And so to say less, that my generation was making a lot of mistakes, and sometimes we have to even say sorry to our children. So, but at least now we see that the damages what we made, and we have in Europe a movement called Fridays for Future. You don't have this in America, but when kids, I mean, I'm talking about 14 years old kids are going on the street on Fridays, demonstrating against the climate change. So that's and I'm always saying, yeah, it's great but the climate tragedy is easy to see. This is just something that everybody can see, feel, and we know that about. If we don't change anything in about 40, 50 years, we're going to lose a lot of valuable things in life, and great cities are. And but there's lot more things went wrong than this. What maybe is too challenging or too complex to see it, from everyone's point of view.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Step
what
back a
about
bit
our
further.
currency? Like so this is inflation rates in the combination of so there is a lot more problems that my generation is going to pass over one day to the next. And this album, Utopia for Real, is actually uh, going into this wound, and trying to bridge over also generations, and also that we have in such a tremendous problem also in America, but also in Europe. We, that the urban way of life. Let's talk about New York. So you see, or Toronto, you see it from that, or Munich, where I'm at home.
Mhm.
From that point of view, as an urban, cosmopolitan, intellectual,
Hmm.
academic, you see things in a
They're
certain way.
amplified in the
Yeah,
urban setting. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we have to go out and see on the countryside of people, and to discuss again. And we lost that capacity because we are sitting in our news bubble and echo chamber.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and this music we created is just to going out, and because music is the greatest unifier. For the togetherness in a way, so that we regroup again.
Mhm.
So that we and that maybe the most important message, that we learn again. If someone is in a different opinion as you are, and even is representing oppositional opinion, it's not your enemy. It's just another
Correct.
person who sees the world in different
Yeah. Another
way, and
perspective. Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Not Let's not hate each other for that.
Mhm.
Right
You
on.
know, uh,
Exactly.
just let's talk about it,
Yeah.
and let's learn about it. Maybe I change a little, maybe she's changing a little, and we learn a lot about each other's point of view. We don't have to. And Mark, I'm thinking, very thankful that a couple of minutes ago you said the utopia for every and each of us can be very different. Yes, it's wonderful. It
It's an
is great.
invitation to a dialogue, right? About what,
Exactly.
Absolute.
Exactly.
yeah.
To live the diversity, it should not know a slogan, a headline, and we just live it. And you kiss this alive, because
Yeah.
we all are coming from somewhere, but we also going to somewhere, and let's enjoy the difference. That we have different interpretation what utopia could be, but
Yeah.
uh, but it's going to be a realistic utopia in the very moment when we are trying to achieve this together, and this is the
Exactly.
point.
Exactly. I love that, man. Say, I
Yeah,
love your
very cool.
vision. Oh, I love your vision very much. Before we get run out of time, we'll pass over to Delyn before we run out of time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Leslie, I could listen to you all day. It's kind of ridiculous. You're such a breath of fresh air, and you've just been saying everything that I've been wanting to hear from musicians for so long. I know everyone's thinking it, but it's refreshing to have someone just flat
Yeah,
out say
same.
it and open up that dialogue. So I just want to thank you for being so open with us and sharing that with us. I will bring it back to kind of surface level, though, unfortunately. So sorry, don't be mad at me.
It's all
But
good.
you've just done so many things, and I'm wondering if there's anything in the next month, year, foreseeable future that you are hoping to achieve outside or that has something to do with music, like really anything. I don't know if there's anything left for you to do in music because you've done it all, but if there is, what is it?
All right. So I have a vision, which I would like to share with you as an answer on your lovely question. Um, you know, let's go back to the momentum as the American resettlement officer was asking me at the refugee camp what the hell I would like to do. And actually, my vision was I go to America, but for some reason, I just I didn't have an instrument, so I had to start my life. And became out of the refugee camp a drummer in a theater, and then I could make the down payment for the drum kit, that way. And then I became a first call triple A studio drummer, and so the life went on, and I could build a life, and it's for refugees not simple, because you cannot go back anymore where you're coming from and
Yeah.
all this.
Right, right.
And so if you're asking me after a couple of decades to go this way, what do I have on mind for tomorrow? Then I had with the Mandoki Soulmates band as well a bunch of golden records, and we are so well known in Germany and Hungary, our two home territories, but we never made it to America. I mean, so we never even had a flop there. So I'm a newcomer in America as a first release because all the huge record companies. So I've worked with all the major companies, obviously, big studio, with all the productions, Phil Collins, Lionel Richie, Chaka, and all this, type
Right.
of thing.
Yeah.
And
Great
and
list.
and uh, and yeah, so I always thought, I have some little saying, to the bosses, I would like to, this is, but they always very kind and absolutely polite to me, but they never made it. So and now at the very first time is a Sony label, Inside Out, wonderful
Mm.
guys, and then all of a sudden I have the very first Canadian and U.S. American release of my life with this album. And so you're asking, what do I have on mind? So after being by heart an American, in this case for me, Canada and the U.S. is sort of one country in that culture
Yeah.
impact.
Agreed.
I know that you guys seeing,
You're right though. It's the same.
but
Yeah.
in a way, and and this way, yes, my next step is just funny. I have to tell you this story as an answer that about yeah 2016 we were awarded in a famous Cannes, southern France, Palais de Festival, by there's one once a year in summer is a gathering by all the top-notch music industry people from around the world, and so we got awarded there. So that the European Act of the Year, whatever. So we played a showcase there, and it was the boss of the Grammys there. So
Mm. Cool.
he said, "How come that this guy's never been in America? Everybody's apart from Mandoki, everybody's American." And so how this going? So and he said, "Okay, I invite you guys because next year, so it was 2018. The Grammys are in New York, so you guys are going to play on a Grammy weekend in the Beacon Theater." So
Nice. Good room.
so we got invited. We played at the Beacon, and this was an official Grammy thing, and 7 encores. The press was wonderful. I could cry. I mean, it was wonderful. It was very, 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 very special. And
No kidding.
but then I thought, okay, the record boss is going to say now we are going to. And I said, no, no, I'm American release. No, I mean, this is right. And it was so funny because we had a kind of uh, great after show party. So in the Beacon, and it was a kind of third mayor of New York there, which he was interested to see the whole thing. And it was what I didn't know, the Hungarian ambassador there, and also the German UN ambassador there. So
Mm.
and
Wow.
all of a sudden, some people, from the record company or from the local promoter were holding a microphone and say, "Yeah, what was a wonderful concert," and things so. And then this guy, about the third or fourth mayor of New York, went on this little stage and said, Mandoki must be actually a New Yorker because almost everybody is a New Yorker, like Mike Stern, Randy Bracker, Bill Evans, Aldi Mola, Corey Henry, so everybody, Richard Boone, everybody. So and then the Hungarian ambassador said, "Oh, wait a moment, he was born in Budapest and he went to the academy in Budapest. He's a Hungarian." And then the German ambassador said, "Wait a minute, he's a German. He's an iconic record producer." And I said, "Well, Mandoki, this is funny. You used to be a refugee, and an illegal, migrant, not speaking German, not speaking English. So it's wonderful that they just fuzzing about that everybody would like to have you
Claim
as
you as
his
their
or
own.
theirs.
Yeah.
And so it was wonderful. And the next day, I was flying with my three kids to Los Angeles to Topanga, and I think only once in my lifetime I had 3 weeks off. And you will like this story. So we discussed with my kids about the generational justice, and I said, kids, I'm really sorry, we just fucked it up. I mean, so just, and
It sure is.
if we don't see it, the currency and all this, everything is just damaged forever. That there are no fundamental values in the markets. So the environment thing you see, but there is much more damaged as what you can see
Yeah,
on the
below
social
the
media,
surface. Yeah.
because the social media is just is a damage itself and humanity. And so we went
True.
on and on. So I was flying home, and life was taking on. Studio, million things to do, and scoring here, there. And about a couple of weeks later, I was touring China, and I finished up in Beijing, and I was sitting in my limousine on the way to the airport. Was a bit kind of having a little nap, and my cell phone was ringing. My son calling from the studio. And I said, "Daddy, you know that I was firing 4 of your employees. I was hiring another 4, and everything is just refurbished. The walls are having different colors, and I changed a lot of things, and I changed your IT, and 16 workers are in the house, and I was throwing out tons of things from the basement." I said, "Son, it's incredibly funny what you're telling me, but I'm just at the airport in Beijing, and about 12 hours I'm home, and then you will tell me your ideas." My son to me said, "Daddy, you don't take, you don't get it. So is this already happening?" So this is already happening, and you're not coming home either. So you must be joking. It's in about 15 minutes to the airport. I say, "I know, but your driver already knows that you're not going to that terminal. You're going to another terminal, and you're not flying home. I was you flying to Bali, the Indonesia, and I was renting for you a beach house, and everything is already there. I'm taking off your iPhone or your iPad all the emails, and you're going to write that album about the generational justice, what you were talking about in Topanga, and you call me when you finished." Um,
Well, I got the orders there for sure. Eh?
I
Oh my
think at
God.
some point for all of us parents, eventually your kids' priorities become yours. Your kids' vision is your vision, right?
yeah, that's it. So that's the way how this album got written, and
Very cool.
so I was in a beach house. I was not on holiday. I was on on the writing camp with myself.
Mhm.
It was a fun little house. It was a kind of walls. It was on the beach, but walls around, and there was a swimming pool in the middle. And I was moving with the sun, and I was just riding, and
Yeah.
sleeping 2 hours and right, and then after about 2.5 weeks, I called my son. You know what? I'm done. I'm coming home now. I said it's good because the studio looks really fresh now. So I changed the floors. I hope that you like your new back office.
Well, it looks great to me.
So this is the real story behind the Utopia for Realis, which is not in a press release.
That's right.
This is the true story. What
The
I
real
wanted to
story,
tell you.
real goods right here.
That is the real thing. So just being in my limousine in Beijing, that's okay. And the driver was so funny because in China very often the driver doesn't speak English, and
Mhm.
New
I think
York too.
yeah, and but for him it was strange that I speak Hungarian, but I speak Hungarian to my kids, so it was funny. So Then, so I hope I could give you a good answer.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible. Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
was better than I could have even asked for. So yes, thank you.
Great answers all the way through, I gotta say. Great answers. Let's over to Mark for one more for you, right on time.
Oh man, so my favorite song vocally, and on this record, is "You'll Find Me in Your Mirror." You know, I thought that was really cool, but it's one of those things where, depending upon where you're coming from, right? Um, you know, what is reflected in that mirror? What is that song about? Right? What inspired you to write that particular piece or to
Okay, now
perform that piece?
no, Darlene will be with us now in emotional way. Uh, you ever been through a toxic relationship?
Mm. Yeah, I think we all
Absolutely.
been at some point in time.
Okay, okay, so we all been there on a toxic relationship. Okay, so this is about it. This is about a toxic relationship that that you know that you're not going to be able to cure it, but you are stuck
Yeah.
on. Uh, uh, and you will see me in your mirror. So this is about that. That that
Gotcha.
that we all been there when it's not working without and it's not working with.
Hmm.
That's the
Yeah,
point. And
Yeah.
we know this is the most painful thing, because if you know you have to leave, then it's okay. Then it's just the pain is over in a way, because then
Yeah,
you're in
eventually.
action.
Yeah.
But eventually, but you are in action, so you have to do
Yeah.
things. Uh, uh, but this song is about that period, that that this is so toxic, so don't get out of it, because you're stuck in that. It's not working with, or it's not working without, and you just have to choose which is more painful.
Well said.
yeah. Or choose inertia, which unfortunately many of us do, and you just kind of let things happen to you.
Yeah.
I think inertia is part of sort of the bigger problems we talk about. Like, you blame your generation, but yet my generation. It's the inertia, right? It's the living with this stuff and too often complaining about it and not enough action. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah. It's
all
really
leave
no
it up
action. Yeah.
to Lynn with. It's up to you guys now.
Yeah. Yeah. Here you go.
Great.
Here you go, kid. There you go. Thanks, Dad. Woohoo.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I'm very thankful, Mark, that you were pointing out this song, because this is
I
uh,
really enjoyed the melody too. It's really a
Yeah.
really complete song. Yeah.
thank you
Absolutely.
so much. I actually, as I've wrote, it was a kind of very, I came out like, like you hear it. So it's just a spontaneous writing, because I always say uh, and we are the copyrights owner, as songwriters, but the great songs like that, as well, are written by life, which
You
is right
find them.
now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, life is offering this, and this just coming to you. So because life was choosing me, or choosing us, writers, to have the capacity, intellectually and craftsmanship wise, to write it down, to create the song. But it's not written by us. It's written by life. And life is a
That's a good,
painful.
humble attitude. And
It
many
is.
songwriters wouldn't say
Yeah.
that, but I happen to agree with you. Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I like one of my earlier records. If you want to listen to, uh, is a song, uh, last year of summer. I tell you the story behind, and if you have a listen to this, it's one of my on the earlier records. It's I was in it was a very typical week in New York. This is kind of end of September thing. I was working in the studio on a complete week until late night, Saturday, and Sunday night I was flying back to Europe. And on Sunday morning I went back to the it was in a quad studio in the Times Square, and went back and just to label it right, my 2-inch tapes, and all this. And
Yeah.
I was driving out to Hampstead in Long Island, this end of September thing, and I was one of in this waterfront coffee places, just very nice. And but it was 5. It got a little chilly, this end of September thing, and and it was the people just started to leave, and all of a sudden was just two of us. An elderly guy, was about 2 3 tables away, and he was writing, uh, uh, and there was a young girl, let's say about 20, and you could see that she's not really a waitress. In my imagination, she must have been a student, and next morning she's starting in Manhattan or in NYU, because the semester
There's a
is starting.
story in there for you.
You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah, yeah.
And she was a really a very cute looking young lady, but the future was on her in her face in a way.
Mhm.
And I had the imagination that this elderly guy was a poet for some reason, because he was keep on writing it. And she came out to both to him. Would you like to have another coffee, sir? And she came to me, and so that was the kind of last coffee. And the way she was walking back, he was looking at her, but not in a bad way. So it's not in a nice way. I mean, it could be his daughter or granddaughter, but so it's not in a sexual way, was it?
Right,
But it,
right.
it,
Yeah.
it was in a respectful masculine way. Like a respect for, hey, and so it's not in any, and and so and at this very moment, the last day of summer, sitting here now, and we feel
Yeah.
the pouring rain. So the song was written, and the song was done. The only thing I had to do,
The way you captured that moment. Yeah.
yeah,
Beautiful,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I could talk to you all night, man. I'm sure we all could.
We sure can.
We're gonna have
Yeah.
to bring Leslie back because the clock is not our friend right now.
This clock is never our friend. That's kind of the problem right there. Yeah, Leslie, we gotta get you back on the show again, real. I mean, I do mean sincerely, real soon. Brilliant interview. Yeah, Mark's right. We talked to you for hours, no problem. So if we get you back on the show again real soon, it'd be awesome because this is a great interview, and I can get more and more and more of this, no problem, no problem at all.
Yeah,
But
it's
in
a
the
great
meantime,
perspective.
thank you,
Yeah.
Leslie Mandoki. What a pleasure it is. What a brilliant
Thank you.
man you are, and what a talent you are. And thanks for being on the show with us. Real pleasure. Real pleasure.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for sharing the vision. Thank you for allowing me into your life and being
Oh,
in mine. And check it out, Manduki Soulmates, YouTube if for realists. I'm a newcomer in America, so I'm starting a
Welcome.
new career.
right
so
on, right
Happy to
on.
welcome you. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
well, once again, I'd love to have you back on the show again real soon. Absolutely. And of course, I want to thank Mark Cool Dude Duda and Delyn Gray over there. And of course, once again, Leslie Mandoki. Once again, guys, thank you, folks. And of course, check out Spanish Sport World Network and Zingo TV for all the news. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Thank you, guys. Again, we'll see you again real soon. Take
Peace.
care. All the best.